Verse 4 of that passage says, "But when they looked up, they saw that the stone, which was very large, had been rolled away." You know, a couple of years ago, I was going through probably one of the most difficult times of my life. Personally, for me, life had just gotten really difficult. And one day at work, I was walking down the hall, kind of, with my head down as I walked along. And a friend of mine came up beside me, a guy named Jesse that works at the hospital with me. In fact, his name is Jesus. I'm still a good enough Baptist to know that when Jesus comes up and wants to talk to you, you stop and listen, right? So Jesus came up, and he kind of put his arm around my shoulder. He said, "Jeremy," he said, "you're going to run into something if you don't look where you're going." He said, "Look up, man." He said, "Pick your head up." He said, "Look where you're going." He said, "Look up so that you can see where you're going." It was just a sort of encouragement I needed. Other people in my life were telling me the same thing. It took me a while to get around to it, but I finally did. And I began to look up. I took his advice. I started to pay attention to where I was going and just how much opportunity there was in my life. And my sadness gave way to joy and to opportunity. And I started to realize just how much hope that my future held. Not only my future, but my present. There was hope and there was opportunity. In fact, that's when I decided, at the age of 40, to go back to school. I'm a student here now. I'm a TLU student. In fact, my son's here today. He's taking a college day. He's going to tour the camp. I'm hoping he'll go here. It'd be kind of cool, don't you think, if we graduated together and walked across? He says no, but this makes me think of the story that we just read. Can't you just see these women as they approached the tomb? They were dejected, they were sad, they were looking down. And as they approached the tomb, they looked up, and what did they see? They saw the resurrection. They experienced the resurrection in a personal and in a very real way, and it changed their life. Their lives were irrevocably altered simply because they looked up and they saw the opportunity of the resurrection. Don't you love the resurrection? It's imagery. It's full of hope and the promise of new life. What I'm finding about myself these days is I want to identify more with the resurrection than I do the cross. The imagery of the cross has begun to bother me somewhat, especially the violence of the cross. The violence of the cross should repulse us. It should cause us to recoil. The unfairness of the cross, what was done to Christ on the cross. But it seems to me that rather than being repulsed by the cross, through history, the church has at times embraced the violence of the cross. And then at times the church has even perpetrated on society the same violence that the cross inflicted upon Christ. Historically, in the name of Christ, violence has been done to all sorts of people groups, Jews and Muslims, women, people of color, gays and lesbians, people that simply didn't agree with the message of the church. And it marginalized them, it caused them harm, it persecuted them and oppressed them, caused them violence. Anyone that might have been standing in the way of the advancement of the church's power. But from my perspective, it seems to me that life has enough violence of its own without us adding to it. Much less adding to it violence in the name of the one who came so that we might have life, a life that's abundant and full of peace and love and grace. Life can violently bring things like divorce, loss of a loved one, the loss of a job, other things that we go through in life. There's so many things that happen that are beyond our control. For instance, the way that we're born. Now, I happen to be born good looking. I don't know why others aren't. But we have no control over gender and other issues, right? And yet, our response has been inappropriate. Why would my being any of those things, of color or female or gay or whatever, why should that cause me to deserve violence or rejection or emotional pain? Our response to anyone, regardless of their station in life, should be to show them the love of Christ, not the repeated horror of the cross. We shouldn't be reliving the crucifixion. We should be reliving the resurrection. The imagery of the resurrection, life, new beginning, hope, freedom, rebirth, the picture of those grave clothes coming off and an individual being unbound and set free. That's the life that we should walk in, a life of opportunity. Because the truth is, life will do us violence. If it hasn't caused you heartache yet, it will. It's almost an inevitability. Someone else say it. Things come along that are beyond our control. Life forces our head down. The weight of it all becomes extremely heavy. And then looking down, you might find yourself staring into the dark emptiness of depression or despair. And sometimes we have to go through that suffering, the suffering of the cross, to experience, finally, the resurrection. Eventually, the darkness lifts. Life finds its way in. Light finds its way in. Our head is lifted. And then together, faith and hope and love will help us lift our heads, cause us to look up. Look up and see that the emptiness of our darkness has turned into not emptiness, but openness, opportunity. A small opening, then light gets in, the tomb opens up, the stone rolls away, hope comes in, and all these opportunities lie before us. I think that this is what it means to live in the resurrection, to spend our time looking for those stones that need to be rolled away so that the light of Christ might enter our lives and the lives of others. And I look around this campus, I just want to say personally, I love being here. Being around you is exciting, and there's such an energy. There's so many exciting things going on campus, like Empty Bowls. Is Sarah in the room? Back there, the Empty Bowls Project. Dog Days, y'all came and volunteered the other day. We dug fence posts. The Straight and Gay Alliance here on campus. You are doing amazing things. Billy Wayne and I went to one of the Starlight talks that Tim had a couple of months back, and we discussed the LGBT community on campus and in Seguin. I was moved by your excitement, your love for one another, your willingness to open life up to everyone that's around you. You see, that is an open place. Together, you're pulling back that curtain, you're rolling away that stone, and you're letting light into dark places. You're ministering to the hurting through the conversations that you're having. It's not easy. In fact, the thing is, the resurrection opportunity can be a scary thing. Those women were scared. It says they trembled. They were afraid, and they went to find the others. It can be scary moving forward, even though you're moving forward and into the light. They were not sure what would happen next, but they still walked toward the resurrection, new life, and a new beginning. So, keep living the resurrection. You're already doing it. It's an exciting thing. Keep bringing life and light into your world. The cross has done its damage. A lot of people have suffered that type of violence and injustice. They are hurting. You might be one of them. Let's show them, let's show ourselves how new life can be lived. Let's live and let's walk in the resurrection. Bless you.